Charity and welfare. Two things that are very similar to one another, both trying to assist those less fortunate than many others in our society. Through the power of both, there has been much good and has certainly helped to assist with those who live below the poverty line or at the poverty line already. But I believe that while welfare can be helpful and it does have legitimate impact, that charity, private charity, from individuals is not only more cost effective, not only is it more compassionate, but it also helps communities grow together side by side. It allows for each individual to assist another, and it allows for a more personalized experience with the idea of getting people out of poverty. Of course, as you can see here with poverty and welfare in the United States, there is still a drastic proportion of the population that live in poverty, around 11 to 12%, and that equates to a still a staggering figure of 37 million people. However, between both state and local public funding, and as well of the 1 trillion War Against Poverty Act that are fed into the federal government year by year, there's a roughly if you were to combine it all together, roughly about $2 trillion invested every year to help to fight poverty through the means of welfare, such as SNAPs or Medicare, Medicaid, so things like that. And these have certainly proven to be rather useful, as we can see here. That when programs were established in the 70s to cut poverty, we can see there's a very fast reduction, almost about 50%, 47 to be more accurate, roughly 47% reduction. Over the course of now some 50 years, that's rather well. And as well, due to welfare, things like that, COVID also led to 10 million fewer people being in poverty. However, there is a major drawback, especially now in today's government, where more than 70% of both state and federal funding does not go to the people in need, and instead goes to employees to pay for them, and to the infrastructure to keep the system afloat. That is a tremendous amount of money that is not going to people in need. Out of the 1 trillion for the federal side of things, you're roughly seeing only about $300 billion going into that. On the other hand, we can see that what the power of private charity can do, though it doesn't raise nearly the same amount of money, it roughly goes over about half the budget of state and local government with their public funds as well, with the American people in 2021 raising up about $484 billion. This actually has gone up from the previous years, which I believe around 2016 the number was about $386 billion. That is a massive show of improvement. As well, we can see here that about 75.7 million people also volunteered last year alone, contributing about 4.99 billion hours of their own personal time to help those in need. And as well as community-based aid has also reached millions to provide food, shelter, mentoring, and healthcare. All incredible acts from people who simply do it for the goodness of their heart and to help their community. As we can see as well, private charity and nonprofits are far more trusted than government. Though it still shows to say that a 57 trust rate is not exactly the greatest, but compared to the government's 22%, it's much better improvement. Donors, on the other hand, as well, through private donors, get to choose the cause, and it also will encourage efficiency and innovation, as these donors, where they're putting the money, works roughly much like a marketplace would, allowing people to see where money needs to go and what people need to invest in. As well, evaluators like Charity Navigator help as well maximize impact of these trust funds by helping to evaluate even further. It is the Bible mentions several points within both here in Proverbs 19:17, which states, "Who is kind to the poor lends to the Lord," and as well as 2 Corinthians 9:7, "God loves a cheerful giver." As it is often, perhaps always said, you can't take anything material into the grave, and there is nothing wrong with giving a little bit to those in need. As well, faith communities have often operated food banks, shelters, and crisis support centers for those in need. Now, there is some possible options in government and policy to perhaps help with people, such as extending tax benefits to donors, i.e., universal deductions, fostering better private partnerships with nonprofits, supporting transparency, and as well encouraging grassroots and faith-based initiatives. The overall conclusion is that charity empowers individuals to act with compassion and purpose, while welfare provides a decent safety net. Charity offers dignity and personal care. Combining public support with private initiative builds a more humane society, and communities are better able to deal and help itself over a government entity miles away. Thank you for listening.